All right, peace, love, and law. Today is Morris National Republic of Peace public law class. It's August the 3rd, 2022. And the now the time is at 6:21. So we give thanks to anybody that's able to attend. We give thanks for anybody that will end up watching this video and just for your time and your energy. We hope that you gain understanding and learn from this. Uh, Everything that you hear today will end from a religious aspect protected by the First Amendment, freedom of religion, and the exercise thereof. Um, so, this is a right to travel class, and today we're going to strictly speak about right to travel. So, let all of your questions be related to this so that we may get the answers that um, you are seeking. All right, so right to travel. And the first thing we all, as you know me, I always start with the Bible, and this is Genesis 1:26. King James, I'm going to be King James part. So it says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And then in Genesis 2 it says, and the Lord formed, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Okay? So, first thing you have to know is the people is only to be governed by the law of the land. Um, and we'll discover that. You'll discover that by reading Amendment. I want to say which one it is. Let me see which one it is. Article 6. Okay, so Article 6 of the Constitution, first thing it states, when we're speaking of law of the land, and we know land is earth, man was formed from dust, okay, which makes you earth, which makes you land, which makes this body here a form of estate, like real estate, etc. All right, so all debts, contracted, engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. So this Constitution is the supreme law of the land, which is your body. Y'all better pay attention. We just saw how man was created, where he was formed from, right? And when you walk outside, your feet is automatically, unless you jump in there, you got to come back down to the ground. So really, that which is attached to the land belongs to the land. You belong to the land. You belong to earth. Okay? Yeah, earth is earth, land, and sea is sea. Two different things. All right? So know that. That is the supreme law of the land. All right, so they talking about what judges, what law is set up on in this body, you, yourself. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, not standing. All right, senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of state legislatures and all executive and judicial office, both the United States and several states, shall be bound oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. No religious test shall ever to any office or public trust under the United States. All right. Now, it goes back to tell us, Genesis 2:7, God said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. And God gave dominion over basically land and the sea and the air. Okay? So everything that moveth upon the earth, meaning yourself, first thing you have dominion over is self. That's liberty. Now, liberty is the freedom of movement, the freedom of consciousness, the freedom of contract, the freedom to worship God in ways that any way that you see fit, as long as it doesn't harm or take away rights of others or to the environment. Okay. Automatically, since we know these two things, right? Now we got to go to Article 1. Not Article 1, Amendment 1. First Amendment. First Amendment. Congress, no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble. Okay, assemble. So, Moorish National Republic of Peace, we assembled together and created what we call is a Moorish society, a religious de jure government. All right. So, and petition the government for a redress of grievance. Okay. So automatically, the first thing you have in here, they cannot make any law respecting any establishment religion. So they can't make any law that's going to prohibit your freedom of exercise, all right? And the right to worship, the right to contract. All right, so what it says, the First Amendment guarantees freedom concerning religion, expression, assembly, and the right. It forbids Congress from both promoting one religion over others and also restricting an individual religious practices. So you got to think about it. If they practice law by using pillar of law, which is a form of practicing law, and they can't practice their law because it's their religion, they can't practice their religion on others. So I have to understand that. All right, you can't go practicing your religion on others. Can't do it. All right, because that could be a violation and harm to their religion and their practices. So restricting the individual religious practices. It guarantees freedom of expression by prohibiting Congress from restricting the press or rights of individuals to speak freely. It guarantees the right of citizens to assemble peacefully and to petition their government. All right. First Amendment protects your right to travel, liberty. Automatically, that protects liberty. Everything. Your liberty resides in your religion. All right, so you got to realize the liberty consciousness it automatically means the man has a right to choose to himself that is religious to himself. Okay. So everything is automatically based up off religion and if you know your relationship with God. So now it's your right, your worship to your creator. Foremost. All right. So the first thing we got to go read this. Let's go read our religion. So this is Moorish National Republic of Peace, Board of Directors Assembly. It's the Right to Travel Act. Okay. Hold on just a second. All right, so my bad. Okay, so Morris National Public Peace Board of Directors assemble Right to Travel Act. All right, to establish the right to travel. And I'm gonna read this to you, and I want you to understand exactly what I said. Freedom of movement. God created you and gave you dominion over the earth. It means He gave you the right to move free on the earth unencumbered. Anywhere. If God didn't give man that right, then why does every animal move around this earth however they see fit with no form of life, anything? They don't got to get no license to fly. The birds don't. Anything of that nature. None whatsoever. They cannot turn the animal's God-given right into a privilege. And when they do, it's called a zoo. And then they call themselves protecting the animal. But how you protecting the animal when you take it away from its environment? When you take it away from its natural state? So that's why they always practicing color of law, because they always taking something from its natural state. Always. So think about that. You gotta literally think about yourself. And God made man separate from anything else He created. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really, really take the time to think about God created you in His likeness and His image. He didn't do nothing else like that. So why would God make you less of anything? Especially if you're gonna be made in His likeness and image, then God is not subject to anything or anyone. Same way as He made you. That's why He gave man dominion over all things. First thing was self, your own mind. That's why when the devil went to Job, that's why when God called the devil, or Satan, which whenever you want to say, called him forward and basically asked him where he was going, he said he was going to and fro, looking for that which he can destroy, divide and conquer. And he told him, try serving Job. But he told him one thing you can't do is mess with Job's free will. So free will means automatically liberty. The freedom to move, the freedom to think, the freedom to write the contract, all of these. That's a sign, right? Religious protection when it comes to your freedom of dealing with anything. You just need to learn how to use it, because that's the way you exercise and practice your religious daily. Okay, so let's read what it says. The Morris National Republic of Peace and Board of Directors assemble accepts and acknowledges the authority of the people to travel freely in any vessel of Morris National Republic of Peace registered with the Department of Travel and the Secretary of Morris National Republic of Peace. The Morris National Republic of Peace and Board of Directors assemble, accepts, and acknowledges the right of people and pursuant to Morris National Republic of Peace Constitution, Amendment 18, Clause 2. It says delegation of authority. The Morris National Republic of Peace and Board of Directors assemble here by delegates the authority of the people to travel freely without interruption of this religious state, any province of this religious state, the United States, Union States, or any foreign state in any vessel of Morris National Republic registered with the Department of Travel and the Secretary of Morris National Republic in the name of Morris National Republic of Peace. So watch this. Section 1. Constitution for Morris National Republic of Peace protects the inalienable rights of the people of Morris National Republic of Peace. The right to travel is a God-given religious right and duty that's exercised by the people of Morris National Republic of Peace. Genesis 1:26. And God said, let us make man in our image. And after have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over everything that creeps upon the earth. God has given man dominion over the earth, and man was formed from the earth. 2:6. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Since man was formed from the earth, man first dominion over self first. Man has sound conscience and free will to think and act for self. It is a religious act for the people of Morris National Republic of Peace to register all vessels automobiles, vehicles, cars, boats, motor coach, all transportation to Morris National Republic of Peace, and carry all identifications of Morris National Republic of Peace when operating vessels of Morris National. As stated in Luke 20:25, as he said, then render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and to God the things that are God. Morris National Republic of Peace is the kingdom ordained on earth by our God, Allah, for the people of Morris National Republic of Peace to show our honor and loyalty to God. It is our religious duty, all things to God through the kingdom, Morris National Republic of Peace. All right, now section 2, practicing the color of law, whether it be foreign or domestic, and violate inalienable God-given right of the people of Morris National Republic of Peace to freely travel abroad the earth for which we have inherited the earth from our Father in heaven, as stated in section of this act, will be found according to Morris National Republic of Peace, and or 3 years of jail time for the discrimination violation of our right to the freedom of religion and the exercise thereof. All right, so this is a religious act. This is a religious practice. This is an exercise of our religion. So I got one question to ask y'all. Anybody may ask, does this take away your rights? Does this harm you in any shape, form, or fashion by Morris National Republic of Peace or anybody else that's doing this in this same fashion? Does it take away your right or any one of your rights or anything? Does it cause you harm? Anybody?
No.
It does not cause any harm.
Is it harm to any environment?
What was your second question? I didn't hear though.
Does it cause harm to the environment?
No.
So therefore, what you are doing is exercising the law of the land, the United States Constitution, First Amendment, and then go find the one in whatever state that you are domiciling in, okay? That you are inhabiting in. And once you find that, it protects that right. Now, here are just a few court cases that we're going to speak on. I'm going to give you different definitions of what they mean and what they're trying to tell you. All right? So, right to travel Supreme Court decisions. As we also read that Supreme Court cases and decisions, etc., is also considered to be part of the law of the land, right? Correct. Okay, so a carriage is peculiarly a family or household article. It contributes in a large degree to the health, convenience, comfort, and welfare of the household or of the family. All right, so under UCC 9-109, there is a real distinction between goods purchased for personal use and those purchased for business use. The two are mutually exclusive, and the person who used to which the property is put should be considered determined. And section 9-109 UCC is classifying goods, provides goods are consumer goods if they are used or bought for use primarily for personal, family, or household purpose. Of goods includes an automobile. Versus government, employees, finance, and industrial law court. The classification of goods under UCC 9 is question of fact. All right. The classification of goods in UCC 9-109 are mutually exclusive. McFadden versus Mercantile, Safe Deposit, and Trust Company. Automobile purchased for the purpose of transporting buyers and from his place of employment was consumer goods as defined in UCC 9-109. Since originally of the automobile bought it for personal, family, or household purposes, The automobile would be classified as consumer goods. It's another one found on page 1, National Bank of Boston versus since we repurchase for personal, family, or household purpose, the dart is classified as consumer goods. None of this is for business. You have what you said, the right to travel. Basic constitutional right, amplified in case of persons applying welfare assistance in the state which they have not resided for a prescribed period of time. It says that to deny such a right to such person, to inhibit their right to travel, and hence to deny their equal protection of the law. And that's just literally saying that they can't encumber them or make them have a license or anything like that from their state. You know how they tell you, oh, okay, well, you've been here over 30 days within our state, you got to get a license and all that type of stuff. Or you get what I'm saying? That's encumbering somebody. You can't do that. They got the right to travel freely wherever. But all you know, the earth is their land and their address. you can't, you don't know. All right. So the most important thing is to know that it's consumer goods. The first one I'm gonna start out with. Let's see, I'll read it. Should have put this up first, but I'll read this one first. Basically goes back to church property. Church property, it says within constitutional exemption from taxation, it means property used principally for religious worship and instruction. It means that if the property or is considered consumer's good, which is specifically used for religious purpose, worship and instruction. So your car can be used for ministry, meaning going to go get the family food and providing food for the family and transportation. That's a form of ministry. Because there you go, you doing God's work, and doing God's work is considered helping, feeding the poor, helping whoever, etc. Right? Ain't that part of God's ministry? You feel me? So that's what you gotta know. All right, so how to argue court cases by using constitutional law and Supreme Court cases. Most of this we're going to specifically be dealing with is on the right to travel, and this is from a religious point of view. Now, you do not have to be in a religious organization to even apply this. Like I said, you can just literally read from the Bible and from your religious belief, and the way your religious practice is to, everything and all things you give to God and to be worshiped to God. But what constitutional right is being violated is the first thing you have to figure out. So when it comes to traveling, First Amendment rights, freedom of religion, and the exercise thereof, because what? All of our rights come from God, Allah first. Okay? All your rights come from God. So it ought to be a religious matter in the first place. Okay? The people of Morris National Republic Peace, religious duty according to the Right to Travel Act voted on and enforced on May 15, 2022 by the Board of Directors for Morris National Republic Peace. All right, so it says in this, which I read already, this is how you defended it. All right, so we would say, basically, it's our religious act, as I read to y'all earlier. It is a religious act for the people of Morris National Republic of Peace to register all vessels. So one, that goes away with them saying that you have to have your car registered to the state. Okay, well, you let them know. Register to the state causes what? Home. And they cannot bring. So they cannot burn you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
None whatsoever. So it says, This is for basically all vessels, automobile vehicles, uh, cars, boats, motorcoats, transport. Morris National Park carry identification of Morris National Public of Peace when traveling in vessels of Morris National Public of Peace. Now, that's something I want to show y'all. I usually would already have it up, but Alabama City. This is literally right here, and this is in Alabama Constitution. So all I gotta do is exercise that Constitution. The amendment shall be known as and may be cited as Alabama Religious Act. All right, Alabama Religious Freedom Amendment. Religious Freedom Amendment. Yeah. So it says, Section 3 right here. Purpose of the Alabama Religious Freedom Amendment is to guarantee. The purpose of the Alabama Religious Freedom Amendment is to guarantee that a freedom of religion is not burdened by state and local law, and to provide a claim or defense to persons whose religious freedom is burdened by government. So it ain't supposed to burden neither one. And what that means is harm to the public. If your religion causes harm to the public, then the government is going to have compelling interests. That's literally what that means. So if your religion is sacrificing babies, then guess what? They got a compelling interest because you out here causing harm to the public interest. All right. So now it says, the bounds. Section 4, as using this amendment, the following words shall have the following meaning. So I want you to see something. Freedom of religion. My bad. Freedom of religion, the free exercise of religion under Article 1, Section 3 of Constitution of Alabama 1901. That goes all the way to the beginning. It says, rule any government, statute, regulation, ordinance, administration, provision, ruling, guideline, requirement, or any of law, whatever. They're letting you know, any statement of law, government, any branch, policy, instrumentality, official, or a person acting under the color of law of the state of Alabama, any political subdivision of a state, municipality, or other local government. So now, Section 4, government shall not burden a person's freedom of religion, even if the burden results from a rule generally applicable, accepted as provided in Section B. So in B, it says government may burden a person's freedom of religion only if it demonstrates that application of the burden to the person is in furtherance of compelling government interests, like I said, causing harm to the public, and is the least means of furthering that compelling governmental interest. So that's something like school, meaning they have to take certain rights. They didn't say you couldn't pray. It's just meaning that they can't just sit up there and have an open prayer. Let's pray to Jesus Christ. Yeah. So that just means that you and pray about Jesus Christ, or Muslims can't sit down and put their rug down and start kneeling to, they can't do that in the classroom. So that's what it means by having the least compelling interest as well. You get what I'm saying? So it says, nothing in this amendment shall be construed to authorize any government to burden any religious belief. That's what B says right here. Okay? So that's just letting you know off the rip. C says, a person whose religious freedom has been burdened in violation of this section may assert that violation as a claim or defense. So you can use it as a defense, or it can be used as administrative or other proceeding to obtain appropriate relief against the government. This amendment applies to all government rules, implementation thereof, whether statutory or otherwise, and whether adopted before or after all the effective date of this amendment. All right, nothing in this amendment shall be construed to authorize any government to burden any religious belief. Nothing in this amendment shall be construed to affect, interpret, or in any way address those portions of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution permitting free exercise of religion, or prohibiting laws respecting the establishment of religion, or those provisions of Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution of Alabama, 1901, regarding the establishment of religion. So they let you know they can't do it. They can't do it. Only way they can. All right. So, as it states in Luke 20:25, and he said to them, then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Moorish National Republic of Peace is the kingdom ordained on earth by our God, Allah, for the people of Moorish National Republic of Peace. To show our honor and loyalty to God, it is our religious duty to give all things to God for the kingdom of Moorish National Republic of Peace. So now we're going to hit them with this. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania says this: no state could convert a secure liberty, meaning you got the right to move freely upon the earth, unencumbered, into a privilege and issue a license and a fee for it. All right, so they can't take your freedom of religion, your right to exercise your religion, and then turn it into a privilege and issue a license and a fee for it. They can't do it. The state cannot take our First Amendment right, which is our God-given right, to travel the earth unencumbered. The right is ours to keep or to waive. And we, the people of Moorish National Republic of Peace, claim all God-given rights. State of, whatever state it is, cannot convert a secure liberty into a privilege and issue a license and fee for it. All right, and now this is what happens if they do. Shuttleworth versus Birmingham. Now, if the state does convert your right into a privilege and charge a license and a fee for it, you can ignore the license and fee and engage in the right with impunity. So it's our right to fulfill our religious duty and exercise our beneficial rights to the U.S. Constitution, First Amendment, freedom of religion, and the exercise thereof. In doing so, we, the people of Moorish National Republic of Peace, will engage in our rights with impunity and ignore your license and fees, which burdens the people from exercising their religious duties and violating our substantial rights. All right. So the next thing says Boyd versus United States. And this will be the next. And the court is to protect against any infringement of Constitution, secure liberty. It's their duty. They have no choice. They have to do it. And the reason why is because they are trustees. They took an oath and a bond to operate fully as public service fiduciaries of the people under the contract of the constitutions, meaning the U.S. constitutions and all union constitutions, state union constitutions, which are the law and for the people. Church property. Within this constitution exempted from taxation, it means principally for religion, worship, and instruction. So again, I say, take your car, register to your form of ministry, your church, trust, etc., and it is being used for the glorification and worship and instruction for God, for religious purposes only. Your house is too. Civil Rights Act of 1866, 14, Statute 27, enacted April 19, 1866, and referred to as the Attorney General Act of 39 Congress, Section 1, formally titled an act to protect all persons in the United States that in their civil rights and furnish the means of their vindication, April 9th. So basically, you get to become an attorney general, right? You are the private attorney general, and if they violate you in any form of way, then you are to come and do what they consider a I'm gonna show y'all a second. Untold are rich to the people. All right. Basically, the first thing you really do is trust jurisdiction with these people, so you know, and get them to show their, you know, right to have jurisdiction, right to govern or the situation or even the matter. Meaning also to show proof that there's you know what I'm saying, injury here. Meaning that there has to be substance, spirit. That's why I say try spirit, body spirit. There has to be spirit here. There has to be another living being there claiming a form of injury from you. All right. It says that Congress established the position of private attorney general and so passed it to the public law to provide the people the same right as the federal or state attorney general to bring suit in the name of the people when those whom hold public office, such as federal or state attorney general or county prosecutors, fail or refuse to protect the people's rights. And each citizen acts private attorney general who takes on the mantle of sovereign. Top 42 USC section 1983 Wood versus Bryant, 54 FRD 1711. And then it says Frank Hauser versus Rizzo, 59 FRD 339 E3. It is not the function of our government to keep the citizen from falling into error. It is the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error. So y'all hear that? It is not the function of the government to keep the citizen from falling into error. It's not their job. However, it is the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error. American Communication Association versus Dow, 339 U.S. 382-442-1950. And a private citizen cannot be punished for sincerely held religious convictions, such as the belief that he is in fact born free and at liberty to act as such. Y'all heard that, right? Everybody heard that. So this is basically protecting your full right to travel. So just give y'all a quick sample. Okay, it says, what is a writ? A writ is a form of written command in the name of court, other legal authority to act or abstain from acting in some way. Typically, when one sees a writ to be answered, they create a petition for the specified writ and file it in the appropriate higher court in order to have the higher court issue the writ to the lower court and force the lower court or other act the writ. There are 5 different types of writs, such as the writ of quo warranto, the writ of habeas corpus, the writ of mandamus, the writ of certiorari, and the writ of prohibition. This teach you about all of the writs and the easiest way to create them and file them. All right, so this is a little something we're working on. Writ is a writ of quo warranto. A writ of quo warranto is a notice of demand issued by demanded attorney general. Remember, though, you are the private attorney general on behalf of the people. To a respondent claiming some form of delegated power, it is filed with a court of competent jurisdiction to hold a hearing within days, depending on the distance of the respondent to the court. Once respondent appears or answers to provide proof of his or her authority to execute their claim powers, if the court finds the proof insufficient, or if the court fails to hold a hearing, the respondent must cease to exercise the power. If the power is to hold an office, he or she must vacate the office. A writ of quo warranto is the perfect tool to challenge a court's jurisdiction or the failure of the court to establish jurisdiction. Whenever a writ of quo warranto is filed, the burden of proof is shifted on the respondent. The writ of quo warranto can also be used authority or orders in association with the paternity, child support case, and can expedite the process of resolving your case. The writ of quo warranto can be made out of similar civil complaint, but under the title of writ of quo warranto, in which you will address it to the appropriate higher court and ask it to exercise an authority over the lower court that filed the original order and force the lower court. Judge, magistrate, state, attorney, or whomever you wish to compel to prove their authority to take the actions they are taking against you. You can state that the authority of their alleged specified office is only intact if and when they defend the Constitution and your rights thereof, because a failure to do so is a breach of the agent's oath of office. That grants them the authority to hold office. The downside by the writ of warranto is the Attorney General must approve your writ prior to it being filed. Now, I will say this. This is basically only if you're going according to the statutory proceedings, but if you choose to take the private attorney general, no, you don't. You are the private attorney general who's making the filing. All right, so this one actually says, writ of quo warranto comes now, petitioner. So this is after you went to court. Let's say you went in there, you challenge jurisdiction, you express your rights, etc. They still probably and then this at the hearing. So you go to the hearing. Now they set a court date for you to go to trial. Even though you challenge jurisdiction at the hearing, you ask to see any form of bill of presence so that you may do equity. None of this was shown. So that means that they are out of due process of law. You automatically win the case. Long as they are not operating as the law, failure to provide due process of law is an automatically dismissal of the case. Automatic. If they fail
Can you all hear me? Okay. Because I can't hear anything.
Y'all hear me now? Yo,
Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
so y'all couldn't hear me a while ago.
Nope.
Nobody out here heard me.
Nope. That's why I kept leaving out and coming back in.
What's the last thing somebody heard?
The last thing that I heard you say was in regards to filing with the higher court. Yeah, I just kept leaving in and out. I thought maybe it was our phone.
All right, well, what about anybody else? Like, it's more than one person on here. So, anybody else hear anything else different? That was the last time you heard, or what? All right, well, I know it's still going to be clear on the recording. So, I guess since ain't nobody else saying that, we'll just see what happens on the recording. If it play all the way through, I'll put it out. If it don't, then y'all were here, you heard it here. And I guess that's where you're going to get it at, right here in the flesh. Because if it's off, then I just gonna put it up. But ain't nobody else saying that, so I don't know. So, so anybody got any questions related for the night?
Yeah, I had a question in regards to that. Sorry, but
Go
I
ahead,
was
ask
gonna
the
ask
question.
you in regards to the filing with the different courts and knowing which one is higher or which one is lower. Like, can you explain that?
Say that again now.
Can you explain determining the which court is like determining how which court is higher or like if I'm at this court, how do I know to go to the higher court, which court? So like how do you determine it?
District court is automatically statutory court. So if you're in a district court or any form of municipal court, you're in a form. Get to the state court. Now you're dealing with the state court, which is a circuit court, and which is always at the county. A county court is higher than a municipal court, meaning the city court, always. Then you got then you got what they call the actual, it goes to the Supreme Court, or you got the appellate court, then the Supreme Court. But Supreme Court is actually the first court that holds original jurisdiction that deals with any and all things that deal with the people, meaning the rich that I was speaking of. That answer your question?
I got you. Yeah, I was just gonna say that answer my question.
Anybody else? Now, I would definitely, there is a template that we use for challenging jurisdiction and everything of that nature. I haven't showed that tonight, but I was just giving you kind of the idea of what it takes to um, beat the case or representing your case. And it's really that simple. Just certain things about it. And the private attorney being the so that's exactly who you are. You become the private attorney general. All right. And that's what they call a high prerogative writ. Okay. Anybody have any questions? But everything I had to start with your right and your right in your relationship with God. It can't start with the state. State didn't create you. State didn't give you law. State didn't give you the consciousness and whatever to do what you're doing today. God did. So always keep that in mind. That's the question that's going to conclude our class for today. Almost hit on the hour on the head. Sunday is our remittance perfection class, and you will learn how to remit properly to wherever it is that you have to remit to. What it also means to set up debt, and how to tender a form of performance. And so, if you want to, of course, in the piece automatically gets in that class. Anybody else that's not with us, being here with us today, you can get that class at $75. Or anybody that watches this video, you can get that class at a discount at $75 for the remittance perfection class. You would need to, I'm just gonna put it up here. So if they watch this all the way to the end, you can see this. Go to Morris National Public 19 gmail.com. So yeah, send it there. Let us know that you watched this video or you attended this class and that you want the discount for the class at $75. So we give thanks to everybody and their time. Peace, love, and law. Y'all have a beautiful night.
You too. Peace, love, and love.